I have a quick question for you. When is the last time you've Googled yourself? And when you got the response and the facts from the search, were you happy with what came up? Did it accurately represent who you are today, what you're doing in your current career, and is it a positive reflection of who you are? This is something that is so important because your online personal brand is there whether you like it or not. In today's episode, we're going to talk all about your online presence professionally. And specifically, I'm going to talk to you about why LinkedIn is the number one tool for you to showcase who you are and what you do best. So welcome to part 2 of the networking series for the People Success Circle podcast. The truth of the matter is that we are more connected than we have ever been. Because we have so many ways to be connected to one another, it can be really hard to keep up. In fact, some stats that we should all know is that 93% of adults use the internet every day. And the average person gets 121 emails a day. That's not even counting DMs on LinkedIn or any other social platform. It's not counting Slack messages or team messages. It's not counting texts on your phone. That 121 a day is just email. And so we think of that and we're like, gosh, we are so hyper connected. We live in a hyper connected world. And that begs the question of how are we going to be known in a world where there is so much communication? Well, today I want to break this down for you and what I think is the best tool for all professionals when it comes to being known for what you do best. And that is being a strong user of LinkedIn. I want to talk to you about one of the reasons that I personally love LinkedIn. I have used it as a human resources professional. I've used it as a recruiter, as a hiring manager. I've used it to elevate the employment brand of the companies that I've worked for. And then when I became a business owner, I had to figure out how am I going to use it to attract clients to my business. And so because I've used LinkedIn in so many different ways, I'm somewhat of a super user. And one thing that I want to tell you is this really great story about how I've gotten business on LinkedIn. So back in the early 90s, I was in college at Illinois State University and I was doing an internship at Walt Disney World. It was my second one. And I was working in the college recruiting and international staffing area of human resources. Well, one of the peers that I worked with on this internship was a woman named Jill. And we had a blast together. We have so many fun pictures and memories from, interning together and having fun in the parks after hours. But, we didn't have email or cell phones back then. So when we ended our internship, really the only way to keep in touch was to call our parents' house phone or send a letter to where our parents lived because we needed to, as we moved, we had to figure out how to keep in touch with people, how to update those manual address books. So I know I'm dating myself here, but let me get to the current part of the story. So this was in the early 90s, and I actually didn't see Jill again after 1991 and completely lost touch with her until 2023. And Jill and I both happened to be in a Disney alumni group on LinkedIn. And there are thousands of people in that group. I mean, there's so many people. And somehow Jill found me with my new married name and all. So one day I get this message from her and she says, I have no idea if you remember me because this was literally over 30 years ago. But do you remember me? I'm Jill from Disney. And I wrote back immediately, of course I remember you. We had so much fun together and I was thrilled to reconnect. Well, we connected with each other on LinkedIn then. And through her getting to know me and what I was doing professionally and me getting to know her, we realized that we could help each other out business wise. So here I live in San Antonio, she lives in Charleston, South Carolina, and she reaches out to me and says, the company that I work for could use somebody to help update their LinkedIn profiles. So the two CEOs of the company would love it if you could work with them. So I did, and that was my first business. Then she had me help her daughter get hired as she graduated from college. And then because I had met the CEOs at her company, they happened to be in a room in Michigan where someone said, "Hey, do you happen to know of an HR consultant? I'm really looking for one to help us grow the people side of our business." And he remembered working with me. And so then I became the human resources consultant for a company that I've worked with now for almost 2 years, and I actually love working with them. They're one of my best clients. And so through Jill just finding me in that LinkedIn group, over 30 years later, I was able to grow my business, help her company, help her daughter, and stay connected. So the power of LinkedIn is so strong when you use it right, when you get active in groups, when you post, when you connect with people, and when you really use this as a tool and an online platform for showing others what you do best, people then start to be attracted to you and your business. This really helps with job seekers too. LinkedIn is the #1 place to find a job globally. I love the story of how I reconnected with Jill and how that has helped grow my business. And one of the takeaways is you really just can't cram relationships. You can't go on LinkedIn or go to a networking event, introduce yourself to someone, and expect that that is going to get you your next lead, because it's not a place to pitch, it's a place to build relationships. And we all know you can't cram them. You can't speed up a relationship. It's more of a marathon than it is a sprint. And relationships that are fostered can help you over time. The bottom line is we need to build relationships before we ever need them, because that is the way to plant the seeds for the future of our careers. So you may be thinking, gosh, isn't LinkedIn just for job seekers? Well, I want to bust a few myths for you about LinkedIn. First of all, it is the #1 networking platform in the world. In the US alone, there's over 225 million people on LinkedIn. The other thing is people think of it just as like a place to showcase their resume. And if they're not looking for a job, they get real confused on what they should actually even put on their LinkedIn profile. Well, the truth is it's your online billboard. It's not your online resume. And so if you are not looking for a job, your profile should talk about what you're currently doing and what you can offer others. So if you are a recruiter, you should be talking about the jobs that you're trying to fill. If you're a salesperson, same thing. If you're a coach or a social media manager, talk about the work you do. Because when we do this, it not only tells people what we do best, but it builds know, like, and trust. It helps people say, gosh, she does great work. He is out there often and he's a subject matter expert. So we have to think of LinkedIn not as an online resume and not like a job seeker platform. We have to view it as what it is, which is the largest networking platform in the world. LinkedIn is also the #1 platform for both business to business and business to customer marketing. So when we think about it, there are so many people who use it every day. Like I said, 225 million people in the US alone and over 1 billion in the world. It is used in every country. And so when we think about that, our reach is so much further than even, than obviously going to an in-person event. Virtual networking can really help us build relationships near and far just from our phone or our computer. Another great thing about it is it's counter-cyclical. So when the world is going through economic changes and layoffs and things like that, more and more people come to this platform not just to seek a job, but for news. The LinkedIn platform is a great place to learn about business news, trends in the job market, things like that. And people come there often when things are tough in the world. We do know that recruiters use LinkedIn. In fact, 95% of recruiters use it daily. But it's definitely not just a job seeker platform. It is a place to make sure you are known, that when people Google you, they get your LinkedIn profile, it comes up right away, and what they see is relevant, up to date, and entices them to get to know you more. The other thing about LinkedIn is there are a lot of lurkers on LinkedIn. In fact, 0.4% of people who have a LinkedIn profile actually post. 0.4%. So if only 0.4% of LinkedIn users are posting, that means that those who do, 3 million people who do post, are getting 9 billion views every single week. And that stat is not something you should ignore if you are a business owner or if you are trying to grow your network or grow your credibility as a speaker or an author. We think about it, if 0.4% are posting, we have every reason to get out there, post even one time a week to make ourselves known and to share information, because we are going to get so many more views purely because we were bold enough to take the step to post. So LinkedIn is the most undervalued business tool out there. And I ask you, are you using it? Are you leveraging it to the extent that you should be? Because we know that it's the #1 platform for both B2B and B2C. We also know that there are more decision makers on LinkedIn than any other social platform. And lastly, we know that the average user on LinkedIn who has a profile has 2 times the income level as somebody on other social media platforms. So we have people with spending power, decision power, and we have people who come there to learn about the people that they're going to work with. People ask me all the time, should I have a business page on LinkedIn? And I always say yes. Of course you should have a business page because it brings credibility to your business. However, people don't go to LinkedIn to search up a business. They go to see who works for the company. And so I'll give you an example. If you have a business page and you are trying to recruit people to come to your company, you want to make sure that everybody who's in that hiring circle knows that their LinkedIn profile should be up to date, because people who are going to interview with them want to see who they are. People work for people. And so when you're hiring, you want to make sure that's there. But also, if you are not hiring and you are just a business owner who is out there to spread the word about what you do, if you have a business page and you post everything on the business page, people won't get to know you. And the truth is, people buy from people. People work for people. So it's been proven on LinkedIn over and over again that the C-suite people, the directors, the leaders, the human resources people, everybody who's public facing for that company needs to have a strong LinkedIn presence, posting at least one time a week with a up-to-date profile, so that when people go to LinkedIn to learn about the company, the people that they see are a strong representation of the employment brand. I want to tell you another quick story of a client that I found through LinkedIn as well. This woman, I'll call her Kelly, is a professional, and she wanted to elevate her public speaking skills. And she had seen my profile that I am a paid speaker and a public speaker, but that I also help other women learn how to use their voices. And so she had been following me for a while and reading my posts. And at the same time, she was also asked to speak at an event. Well, Kelly had said no for years. No matter when she was asked to speak, she just kept saying no because she just felt like that would be too much of a challenge for her. She did not feel like a natural speaker and really did not feel like she wanted to put herself out there. But mind you, she is an extremely successful business owner. So Kelly decided in her heart of hearts that she didn't want to say no anymore, that she wanted someone to teach her how to be a better public speaker. And so through following me on LinkedIn, she reaches out to me in the DMs, realized we're in the same city, and she says, would you be interested in coaching me? I've signed up to do a breakout session at a conference because I'm going to get over this fear. Would you be interested in coaching me one-on-one? So needless to say, of course, I would be happy to coach her one-on-one. We worked together for 10 weeks, right up until the time that she gave this presentation, and it went amazing. She did the very best job, and when she left there, she realized that she could do this. She could be a speaker, and she could do this again. So the reason that I tell you that is because I didn't know her. I didn't know this woman. She just had been following me, saw what I do, and decided that she trusted me enough to help her reach this really big goal in her life. And this is the kind of business that you can get on LinkedIn too. It's the same with job seeking. I have a client that I helped with his job search, and he is a very well-educated student from an Ivy League school. He graduated in May of this year, 2025, and in working with me, we elevated his LinkedIn profile. We made sure it was fully optimized so that when a recruiter found him on LinkedIn, he was impressive. And so you're really not going to believe this. Like I said, he graduated from Ivy League school, really, really great, well-rounded guy, but he was having a hard time finding something. And so after we had fully updated his profile, a top company in the US, KPMG Consulting, found him on LinkedIn, reached out, asked if they could interview him, and he got the job. So he didn't even apply for the job, but because his LinkedIn profile was ready when a recruiter came looking for candidates, he was impressive and he ended up getting the job. So this is not just a great tool for job seekers, it's a great tool for anyone in the professional world who wants to expand their network, to be seen and known, and most importantly, remembered when the opportunity comes that someone needs what you provide. So if you're listening to this and saying, gosh, I have a LinkedIn profile, but I'm not even really sure what to do with it, I'm going to give you a few tips to elevate your visibility online. First, I want you to audit your profile. I want you to look at the banner at the top of it and see if it's working in your favor. Does that banner represent you? Is it the placeholder gray thing from LinkedIn, or does it have a visual up there that represents who you are and what you do? You can go to canva.com and create a LinkedIn banner in minutes for free. So if you have something that's generic up there that maybe doesn't represent you as well, make sure you update it. Next, do you have an updated profile? And does your head take up 70% of the circle? If it's a faraway picture or a super old picture, fuzzy picture, gosh, just take out your phone and update your picture. You don't have to get a professional headshot. Phones these days work so well. So just, put it on portrait mode, stand by a bush or a brick wall, whatever you want, and get yourself an updated and relevant profile picture. Next is update that headline. So your headline is right under your name on LinkedIn, and it should be short, succinct, yet telling of who you are and what you do best. Don't feel like you have to give your current job title at your company. Just really focus on what could I say here that's like the headline for who I am. It should include what you do best, what you're known for, and what help you can provide somebody. If you are not sure about this, use ChatGPT. It is so helpful for creating a LinkedIn headline. It's also helpful for creating your about section. So if you're a job seeker, a business owner, somebody who's in their career just looking to grow, make sure you use chat and say, help me to create a about section that really showcases what I do. The next thing I want you to do when it comes to increasing your visibility is post once a week. This can be just a text, like just words. It doesn't have to even have a graphic. It could be just a picture from your phone. You could do a poll. You could share an article or industry knowledge. There's so many different things you could do. You could take a picture at an event that you went to and talk about who you met. You could take a picture at a conference and showcase that, or even talk about a customer review, a new product that you have. There's so many things to post. It's not like other platforms where you have to post often. Post just once a week to start out with, and that will really increase your visibility. And again, remember, only 0.4% of people post, so you're going to get so much more visibility just posting one time. The next way to increase your visibility is to engage strategically. That means engaging with other people's posts by writing a meaningful comment on there. It means engaging in DMs and following up in a way that's not a pitch. Your goal is to build relationships. The way to be memorable is to share value-driven content that connects the dots between what you do and why it matters to someone else. So the big tip I can leave you here is your LinkedIn profile is working whether you're on the platform 24/7 or not. It works while you sleep. It works in all time zones. And so if you keep it up to date and relevant, and if you post and engage weekly, you will get a big increase in your online visibility. So let's recap that LinkedIn plan that I want you to do. First, post one time a week. It could be a story, it could be a lesson, it could be an insight, a photo. Post one time a week. Next, leave 3 thoughtful comments on someone else's post a week. Just 3. Next, I want you to send 1 intentional DM every week. It could be to someone you haven't talked to in a long time. It could be someone that you want to introduce yourself to, someone you saw at a networking event, someone you used to work with, but leave 1 intentional DM a week. And lastly, review your own LinkedIn profile every 30 days because you want to make sure it represents you well, it's up to date, relevant, and it's working in your favor. As I wrap up this episode, I want to remind you that you don't need to be extroverted, you don't need to have a spotlight on you. Having a strategy to show up on LinkedIn is what you need. You need to be visible, credible, and remembered. If you started listening to this episode and you were skeptical on LinkedIn, I want to encourage you to dip your toe in, elevate your profile, connect with people who interest you, and use it as a very strong tool to help you gain visibility in this very hyper-connected world. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review. That will help others know that this is a valuable episode that will help them grow their visibility too. Also, share it with a friend or a coworker who needs to elevate their networking. And if you want to learn more about how to show up on LinkedIn and how to improve your networking skills overall, please see the show notes because I'm launching something at the end of summer called Networking School. Networking School is designed to help you be known for what you do best. So click the link in the show notes to join the Networking School waitlist. Thank you again for listening to this episode. I'll see you next week.